Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Starter Deck Plus guide. Spencer and I will talk you through all three starter decks and what should be some easy and quick ways to upgrade them for local play events. Today we'll be talking about the Ruby Emerald starter deck, so let's dive in. Alright, everyone. Today we are talking about the Ruby Emerald starter deck. Just as a baseline, it is most often known as the degenerate colors because they love to do all sorts of shenanigans, mainly focusing on effects through like Corella and the Mad Hatter, where you got these glimmers that they're just going to sit there and quest for lore, and you want to take care of them, but they got tricky ways to make you not want to take care of them through challenging. And then you have characters like Iago and Jasper that prevent your characters from doing things, mainly questing. And then you got characters like Pongo and Peter Pan that are evasive and hard trouble to take care of in the traditional means. And then you got Rapunzel and Aladdin stealing lore from you. So just all sorts of shenanigans going on with this particular deck. Any other notes?
Yeah, as Blake mentioned, there's a lot of tricks and annoying things that this color combination pulls off, and just like all the starters, it's a little spread out at the beginning, and there's a lot of uninkables and things of that nature where it really just depends on how well you draw is going to determine how this deck performs, because outside of the Mad Hatter, these colors don't have any draw power whatsoever. And that's kind of really the weakness of this particular color combo. But if you like really frustrating your opponent, it's the way to go. For sure.
Yeah, and talking on that, I believe doing the combination of two starters for this one definitely helps streamlines it a little better to help find that balance between the inkables and uninkables.
Yeah, I'll say that this deck is probably the best for just sticking two starters together, because a lot of your really high value cards are going to be in the common and uncommon rarities. So you're going to get a lot of value out of just sticking two of these together, and it's not going to take a whole lot to upgrade the deck beyond that point.
Yeah, mainly with the two starters, I see we trimmed out a lot of the vanillas and slotted in a lot of more of our tricky cards that we got two ofs and one ofs, and yeah, making sure we had all of our removal with Dragonfire and all of our possible targets for Big Aladdin.
Yeah, so the big changes here with the doubling up was we removed a lot of the combat tricks, as well as some of the low value items and vanillas, like Blake just said. So we got rid of the He's Got a Swords, the Vicious Betrayals, the Stolen Scimitars, the Megaras, Horus, and Captain are some of the big ones that got dropped, just to really focus in on the cards like Cruella and Mad Hatter, Jasper, the ones that are going to be generating you your lore while making it difficult for your opponent to have an answer, and keeping in a lot of the lore removal in terms of Aladdin, Rapunzel, and Heroic Outlaw. in order, which is really your top end, making it where if your opponent does do something to deal with your annoying lore generators and Iago as well, to give your opponents reckless, then you can swing in with your Aladdin and remove whatever they came at you with and give you that huge 4 lore swing. We kept the Pongos in order to help generate some lore with their evasive. And we're still running Seal from the Rich here, just because if you are able to build up a big enough board, throwing down a Steal from the Rich and dropping your opponent 3-4 lore in a turn while you're gaining it can be a huge swing, and can win you the game. It's not super consistent, but it will win you games sometimes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, yeah, and then for beyond the starter decks, once you start getting some boosters, you actually came up with the deck to build into. So, what can you tell us about this deck?
Yeah, so I threw this one together real quick. I actually meant to put some Mulans in here, so that's something you can look at adding in as well. So really the idea with this deck is we're focusing in even more so on those annoying, I call it Ruberald No Touchy. I also call this deck the Lorcana deck. And the idea here is that you're generating lore while preventing your opponent from generating theirs. And so it's really focusing in on the lore theft with the Aladdins, Rapunzels, as well as the preventative questing with Jasper, Iago's, and John Silver's. And then we've added in some Cusco's here because Cusco is just an amazing card, generates so much lore value. He's got ward, so he's hard to remove off the field. And if you do remove him through challenging, then he takes the other character with him, which just makes him really annoying to deal with. We've still got our Dragonfires and our Mother's Knows Best in order to help us control the board, and we've got in these LeFous in order to allow us to ready our characters, not only with being able to ready the Aladdin in order to go in for multiple swings in a single turn and take out your opponent, but also to potentially ready up a Mad Hatter or a Cusco, a Jasper, and Iago, so that your opponent can't challenge them and you can continue getting that value out of them later on down the line.
Yeah.
We've got the Shield of Virtues in here in order to also help do that same exact situation. But once again, I really need to find some space for a Mulans in here, because if your opponent doesn't want to deal with these annoying things to get rid of, like Cusco's and Mad Hatters, the other thing I forgot to put in here was Flynn Riders, which is this Donald Duck right here, should be Flynn Rider instead. 100%, because he is really good, and is also an uncommon. So that's something that you can put in as well, so that if you are able to build up this board of characters that your opponents don't want to remove, and then you throw down a Mulan and she's able to give all of them extra lore, then it's just a huge swing in your favor. For the top end, we've got the Rapunzel, John Silver, in order to help with that lore denial side of things, and then of course the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw himself.
With John Silver being legendary, for a maybe cheaper option, would you suggest maybe Mother Gothel as a super rare tech? Or
I'm not really a big fan of Mother Gothel myself. She's just much slower than John Silver, and she's only a better card than John Silver is if your opponent has a very large board, which usually isn't the case in the game. It's an option. I don't think the difference between super rare and legendaries in terms of cost is going to be that huge, but it's definitely an option. Another thing you could do is just swap out the John Silvers for those Mulans I was talking about, and just because Mulan's going to be super cheap. She's inside the gift set, so you're guaranteed a foil
Yeah.
for her if you buy that. And other than that, she's a super rare, so she'll be possible to get as well. So that's one option. If you can't get your hands on John Silver. Plus, we're only running 2 of them in the deck right now. So
That's true. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, that is it for our Ruby Emerald Starter Deck Plus guide. Check us out next time for our final one with Sapphire Steel.
And let us know in the comments what you think about these particular decks, as well as any other thoughts on upgrading the starter decks and where you would want to take them.
Title card.